You there, bud?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Cool,
I
cool,
was
cool,
saying,
cool. Let's
it's like
roll with it. Let's roll.
this guy had he has a PhD, and he's kind of like putting it in perspective. Like now, maybe it's going to mean nothing. You know, if everything keeps changing, like it's going to be hard for everybody to find work. You know, and like companies may not really value the degree as much as people have invested into those degrees, you know? So imagine, I mean, before this even happened, people that invested, that have taken out loans worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, they keep paying them back and they keep asking for a student debt relief. And now, I mean, even with those master's degrees, the jobs available were like paying just slightly more than what people with bachelor's degrees were making. We're just talking about pennies on the dollar, not much, you know. And so now, if you own a company and you're struggling with money, how are you going to afford someone with a master's degree or a PhD? You know, so it's like people have invested all that money, and it seems like it's going to be for nothing now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame. I mean, it really, there's so many different balls in the air, you know? I mean, there's so many different issues occurring at the same time. And I mean, as one of my favorite podcasters ever, Joe Rogan mentioned earlier this week, you know, I just imagine if we were to experience some other type of catastrophe at this time, some type of natural disaster, a tornado, earthquake, volcano. I mean, it just really makes you realize how fragile our system is, how fragile our economy is. And
Yeah.
and at this point, without having the dollar being backed up by some type of, like gold or something like that, it really makes you think, like, how can we just hit a reset button, But anyways, moving past the economy, Chuck, I wanted to ask you, what has been your observation as far as, do you think that this has been hyped up by media and social media, or do you think this has been, or do you think this is, legitimately as threatening as it appears to be?
I think about that a lot too. And I wonder about that because look, I'll tell you, man, you mentioned Joe Rogan, and you've known me for a while now. You know that Bill Hicks has been like a big inspiration in how I view life, and how absurd I think a lot of what comes our way is, and so like right now, man, I wouldn't be so like it would not shock me, and I think part of the issue behind what's going on in the states, and I think a lot of it is down there in Ecuador, is how people don't trust public officials, they don't trust politicians, they don't trust the media, and so when this information is coming out, like we really don't know who to believe, and man, it would not surprise me if this was all some kind of a plan to make us focus on something different than what's really happening. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not saying that's definitely what it is, man, but I would not be surprised. And if if that's what this is, man, screw the people that have made that decision to affect us this way. But then, like, you look at, I mean, you also see like the people that believe in the rapture happening. They talk about this stuff. There are different things happening that relate to the Book of Revelations. Like there are two asteroids that are really close to our planet right now, and it's funny because it's all relative. They say whenever this goes back to what you just asked. The headline was asteroid is close to Earth, right? Then you read the actual article and it says it's 3.2 million miles away. Close to Earth is like 3 blocks away in my mind, right? It's not 3.2
Yeah.
miles. And you got swarms of locusts in in Africa, this plague. I mean, people were worried about a war happening now, and so like it's just it would not surprise me at all if this was someone's way of fucking with us to take our minds off of things and to scare us and to remind us of who is in power. Because at the end of the day, as Tim Pool said, whenever you give a government more power, they become abusive of it. And that's one of the things that I'm really worried about. And if this was, I mean, just look back, man. Look at how things changed on 9/11. Let me ask you this. Do you have a moment in your past when you lost your innocence, when you really started to say, "Oh man, there's a lot of bullshit. I don't feel sensitive anymore." Do you have that moment?
Yeah, actually, I mean, and I think I know where you're going with this. It might actually be 9/11 for me, because I was in middle school, I believe, and we were watching the news unfold live on television in class. So, and I remember thinking, like, that was the first time that I felt like this type of surreal. This doesn't seem real. This seems like some type of artificial reality type feeling, So yeah, for me that could have been one of the closest ones.
For other people, it was. I mean, for previous generations, it was probably Pearl Harbor. You got JFK, right? Maybe it was like Richard Nixon for some. I know in later generations, I mean, Columbine did that for a lot of people. For me, it was the Oklahoma City bombing, and then like when you came to hear about like what it represented and how it reflected the whole situation in Waco, Texas, a year before. And that's one of the things that Bill Hicks, not Bill Gates. Bill Gates wouldn't be that controversial. But Bill Hicks talked about, and like what he was really shocked by was how government would attack its own citizens with tanks and set them on fire. And we're talking about a government that has also put African Americans at risk, the Tuskegee Airmen, and they didn't care for the good of society, right? And they did the same thing in Costa Rica, I believe. There was another country they did that as well. They did not care about the people they were harming as long as they were benefiting out of it, and others were benefiting out of it. The testing of nuclear weapons on Pacific Islands during the 40s, and just like killing people, and it did not matter. And it would not surprise me at all, if that was something that was happening now. I'm not saying it's definite, but it would not surprise me.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked either, but I think it's important to when we say they, when we use that pronoun they, referring to the people that are seeking power or are maneuvering to find power. I think it's really important to clarify who these people are, or these organizations.
I'll tell you, Steve. I'll tell you exactly who it is. It's Marcelo Diaz and Stuart Ness.
Yes.
Those guys.
I've been suspecting as much. I've been suspecting. Shout out to Stuart Ness and Marcelo Diaz.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, Santi Proaño, our boy.
So yeah, it's hard to really it's hard to talk about these things without people saying you're silly or you're crazy. But man, a year ago, if I told you that people were not going to be allowed to leave their homes, you would have said I was crazy back then, right?
Well, I mean, we here in Ecuador last October, we experienced an economic shutdown where we were also on lockdown. So this is the second time in the last, I think, maybe 6 to 8 months that we've experienced lockdown. martial law, like where you can't leave your house, So it is quite bizarre, but it's like I said, it's given me a chance to kind of look at myself and see, Steve, how can I improve, and also think about those who might not have the comforts that we have. We have homes, and we have families, and we have friends, and we have networks and food, and we have to be so grateful for that, because like I said, there's so many people out there, and my heart goes out to the people that are being hit the hardest right now, So let me ask, so if let me just shift gears a little bit here. If right now, airlines are experiencing a major hit, airplane tickets, flights are really, really, I've heard that they're very affordable. And let's say that right now you could catch a flight out to any place, Chuck, any place in the world. I'd love to hear Quito. I'd love for you to come visit. But where would you fly out to, right? Where would you like to go and either, contribute in some way, or visit, or, meet the people and experience this? I mean, where would you like to go right now if you could?
The dream right now that I've been thinking about for a while. I mean, Quito in Ecuador. Everybody that knows me knows how important that is to me. But the dream for me for the past few years has been Maldives. Maldives. Yeah. I want
Oh,
to go.
wow.
Yeah, I would love, man, just I always envisioned like how cool it would be to have like a little bungalow there over the water and just setting up a little classroom there and you know, having all the students stick their feet in the water and just have me walk around and tell them where to put their commas.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So,
How about you? What's that?
have you been able to maintain communication with your students in classes, or have you seen a decline in that?
For the most part, it's been steady. Couple people have, you know, cut back on some of their classes, and I understand. I'm totally, I'm not going to force the issue because it's the way of the world right now. And I think that when companies or people that are involved in this type of work or anything really, they got to handle it with compassion right now. Not everybody has compassion, and not everybody has the patience for it, or the economic standing to do that. But I'm very open, very compassionate, and I know that later on things will come back. And as long as we're all still here, there's always going to be the need for someone to learn English, right? And
That's true, man.
you know,
That's true. And let me ask you, Chuck, I know that you're a huge lover of comedy and all things comedic. And, I just for our subscribers and our followers to get a sense of who you are, and to get to know you a little bit better, tell us about who your favorites. No. Let's say your favorite 90s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Those three generations, those 3 decades. What's your favorite comedy movie?
from each decade or of all time?
80s, 90s, and 2000s. Yeah.
All right, 80s. 80s would probably. I would say Night Patrol. But it's a very obscure movie. If you ever have a chance to watch it, it's with the unknown comic. He was a comedian that used to wear a paper bag over his head. Man, it was a wild movie. If you ever have a chance to watch it, definitely check it out. In the 90s, oh wait, let me preface this because I'm not sure. If The Naked Gun was in the 80s, that's my movie. That's my go-to movie. But I can't remember if that's the 80s or the 90s. All right, well, let's say Naked Gun in the 80s. In the 90s, Dumb and Dumber. All right. And the 2000s,
Okay.
2000s. I'm kind of partial to, I could go either way with The Hangover or Old School, one of those two movies, you know?
Okay. Okay. I think our viewers are going to be impressed with your choices because those are pretty solid choices.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Chuck. Favorite metal band of all time for you?
Favorite metal band? Wow, that's a great question because there are different classifications, right? I mean, like, my favorite band of all time is Tool. And I think that Tool is considered a different class of metal. I'm not really sure how to define them. I know there are probably descriptions of them out there, but I would go with Tool. And if we go with pure metal, I would say Pantera, you know. But Tool and Pantera are my two favorites. Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So the next time you're at Mackenzie's gym, if you get them to play, let's see here, Cowboys from Hell or Walk while you're working out, that'd be pretty sweet, man.
Cool. Yeah. Shout out to Mackenzie's Gym
Yeah,
in Quito, Ecuador. Carlos and Olina, our boys there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I will, man. They definitely they love metal music as well. So
yeah.
cool,
Cool.
man. Cool.
All right, man. What do you listen to when you're rocking the weights at the gym? Huh? What do you like to listen to?
I it really depends because to build up to having it's so funny because if you take pre-workout or if you drink an energy drink or coffee before you go into the gym, you feel an explosion of energy and you want a playlist that can transmit that to your brain as well. So I like to go with a little bit of maybe um, some electronic type music, maybe some reggaeton, maybe start getting into the hip hop once I get into the workout. And then once I'm in the peak of the workout, I like to go with like rock, any type of rock. I like different types of rock while I'm in the workout. And, you know, and then as I wind down, I kind of start putting on more mellow music,
Celine
kind of
Dion.
to wind myself down a little bit. A
Celine
little
Dion.
Celine Dion, yeah. A little Taylor Swift. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'll tell you something that's funny, man. And I didn't think it was possible. But man, when you're on the treadmill, you know how many of them monitor your heart rate, and I would have problems with that for some reason. But like someone once told me that it depended on the kind of music you listen to, and I always listened to like rock and metal when I was on the treadmill. So this friend of mine told me to listen to something softer, and I did end up putting on like Celine Dion or Mariah Carey, and it really made a difference. It did. I guess like the metal just like pumps you up and gets your heartbeat faster, and Celine Dion just makes it mellow, you know. So
Definitely,
you got to put your game
definitely.
face on with the "My Heart Goes On" tune, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's she's a great artist. She's a great
yeah,
artist. I got
yeah,
love for her.
yeah,
But
definitely, definitely.
yeah, man. And so let me ask you, Chuck. You know, have you? Not to get too deep or anything, but is what's your type? What's your type, man? What is Mr. O'Connor? The boss. What does the boss look for? You know what I mean? What is the boss like?
My dad.
No. I mean, as far as romantically, what type of girl do you like, man? What type of
Oh
what
man,
type of girl do you like?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I like a girl that likes to laugh, man, and is patient. I like, I mean, I'm open-minded, you know, be it Latinas or, Asians, gringas, whatever, as long as the girl has a good heart and is ready to laugh and be compassionate and patient, that's all that matters to me. I don't care what
Cool,
color,
man.
you know, everything else will, as long, you know what, Steve, the most important thing is that there's a connection there, and,
Yeah.
that's hard to come by these days, the world of Tinder where you connect with someone in a matter of 1 second, and it's hard to really find someone to have that kind of connection with these days. So
I agree, man. I agree. It's that's what I would say too. If I were asked us that question, I would say the same thing. Whoever or whomever you can really have a real connection with, because at the end of the day, that's what's real, And so let me ask you, Chuck, do you plan on staying in Jersey, would you like to move out to some other part of the U.S.? I mean, I know you said your dream would be to vacation on those islands, but I personally have really, really grown to love out west. I mean, there's places here in Ecuador as well. I mean, there's places around Cotopaxi that I would love to, have a house and, some land. But
yeah.
What about you, man? Are you planning on staying in Jersey, or are you gonna get out, or what's?
Man, I mean, I have 14 years and 6 months of living away from Jersey. In my experience, 14 years in Ecuador and 6 months in California, and you know, each place has something special about it. But I think, I mean, I believe I'm here for, unless something unforeseen happens, like a Powerball lottery winning ticket, or I would like to have a second house. I think that would be really cool. Maybe I have thought about having like a summer penthouse or something if I ever won a lottery in Quito. I thought that would be pretty cool. Like, be up here with my family, and then like in the summer when it's really hot in Jersey, go down to Ecuador and hang out and see my friends and my second family down there, and yeah, but I mean, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Let us get through coronavirus first, right?
Yeah, for sure, man, for
Yeah.
sure.
So
And so let me ask you, Chuck, if people want to see more of you, or if people want to see more videos or more of your content, where can people find you?
Chuckadelphia, man, go to YouTube, check out
Chuckadelphia.
Chuckadelphia, Instagram Chuckadelphia1, and it's funny, man. I thought I had the Chuckadelphia name down pat, but apparently there's another Chuckadelphia on Instagram and another one on Twitter. So I really gotta get my name to stand out, and hopefully I can get those names all to myself.
Yeah,
That's
definitely,
why
man.
Chuckadelphia is on YouTube and Chuckadelphia1 is on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah.
I want to invite our viewers or listeners to reach out to us, reach out to myself or Chuck. And guys, give us some suggestions of, topics that you'd like us to discuss, or, maybe things that interest you, or a question that you have for us. Obviously we're both English instructors. We're happy to, help you guys in any way possible there. But, we really want to give you guys the very best. And we're going to be trying to of a connection with you guys for the upcoming weeks that are nearing, and we want to build some content up. So guys, give us any suggestions that you have, or reach out to us if you have any questions. And Chuck, what about you, man? You got anything for me? Any questions for me, or anything that you'd like to
Well,
discuss?
here's a serious question, man. If society did start to fall because of coronavirus, do you think you have the survivalist mentality to make it? Like, in other words, are you ready to be able to hunt or fish or wash clothes in the river or something? Things that we've seen in horror movies or like The Walking Dead. Are you able to survive like
No. If the power were to go out, I mean, I don't have the skill set required really to survive in nature or in an urban environment in a hazardous situation. So I would probably just stay on lockdown. But if I'm a quick learner, Chuck, so I think that if someone were to show me, I could definitely pick up on that. But I definitely need to, once we get out of this, I need to take some kind of course or something, fire making course. You know what I mean? I got to take some kind of course because I got to buy a basic like a pocket knife or something. So because I'm definitely I was definitely caught with my pants down. So
Okay, all right. Now let me ask you this. You got to go out there and get something. You gotta hunt for something. And in Ecuador, a gun is not an option, right? So what is your weapon of choice to go out there and catch something?
yeah, I mean my weapon of choice.
And you can't say these guns.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would probably try to go with some type of basic projectile, like a slingshot, or even maybe some type of blowgun, because there you can find blowguns down here, or maybe even make some kind of a bow and arrow or crossbow. But I think that there's no big fauna down here in the mountains. It's not like back home where you have whitetail and red deer, you have mule deer, you have elk, moose. We don't have that fauna down here in South America, even though we have the perfect environment for it. We have the Andes. So the truth of the matter would be, it would probably come down to hunting rabbit, and for that I've got Max and Capone, and I would probably need a shovel. And that would be the extent of it.
Yeah, definitely, man. And that's why Ecuador is really smart, because if you tried to hunt a rabbit with a shotgun there, and you put your gun into like a tree hole, it would like bend around and come out. And if you tried to shoot it, it would shoot you in the butt, like in the Bugs Bunny cartoons,
Yeah. I mean, you gotta watch it, man. That those projectiles, they can take a weird path, and you gotta watch where you go shoving your barrel.
Every day will be wabbit season.
Yeah, man. Definitely, brother. Excellent. Well, man. I guess let's wrap it up, man. I mean, unless you've got anything else for me, or
no, that's pretty cool, man. That's we can wrap it up, and let's call it a night. It's Sunday night. It's time for church.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to say, man, Chuck, you're such a brilliant guy, man. Thank you for putting this together, man. Thank you for doing this, and I look forward to checking in with our guys, our students, our viewers, our followers, and guys, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me. My email, steve@goingfin.com, or you can reach out to Chuck or myself on YouTube, Facebook. We'd be happy to hear from you guys. We hope that you enjoy the video, and stay tuned, guys. We're going to be pumping out some more, content, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
All right, cool. All right, Steve, thank you for your time. Again, See you around in Chuckadelphia and in the funny pages, right?
You bet, man. You bet.
All right, dude. All right, Carpe Diem and
All right,
check it
brother.
out.
Later, guys.